Well, hello there, guys. Here we go again. Chapter 5 is up next. Do you remember where we left off? I think there were a couple of boars chatting. There they are. About some clues that were left behind. And my father learned his lesson. No more leaving clues. He doesn't want to get caught. Chapter 5 is called My Father Meets Some Tigers. Here's my father walking through the woods. The river was very wide and muddy, and the jungle was very gloomy and dense. The trees grew close to each other, and what room there was between them was taken up by great high ferns and sticky leaves. A prediction. How might that cause a problem for my father as he's walking through the woods? My father hated to leave the beach, but he decided to start along the riverbank where at least the jungle wasn't quite so thick. He ate 3 tangerines, making sure to keep all of the peels this time, and put on his rubber boots. My father tried to follow the riverbank, but it was very swampy, and as he went farther, the swamp became deeper. When it was almost as deep as his boot tops, he got stuck in the oozy, mucky mud. My father tugged and nearly pulled his boots right off. But at last, he managed to wade to a drier place. Now, I love the way the author, what's the author's name? Ruth Stiles Gannett. I love the way the author describes things. So think about these words right here. My father, oops, no, that's not it. When it was almost as deep as his boots, he got stuck in the oozy, mucky mud. Great adjectives. What would that feel like in those boots? Here, the jungle was so thick that he could hardly see where the river was. He unpacked his compass and figured out the direction he should walk in order to stay near the river. But he didn't know what the river made. Sorry, I got distracted by that text that just came in. So he unpacked his compass and figured out the direction he should walk in order to stay near the river. But he didn't know that the river made a very sharp curve away from him, just a little way beyond. And so as he walked straight ahead, he was getting farther and farther away from the river. It was very hard to walk in the jungle, but the sticky leaves of the ferns caught at my father's hair, and he kept tripping over the roots and rotten logs. Sometimes the trees were clumped so closely together that he couldn't squeeze between them and had to walk a very long way around. He began to hear some whispery voices, but he couldn't see any animals anywhere. I wonder what it is. The deeper into the jungle he went, the surer he was that something was following him. And then he thought he heard whispery noises on both sides of him, as well as behind him. He tried to run, but he tripped over more roots, and the noises only came nearer. Once or twice he thought he heard something laughing at him. At last he came out into a clearing and ran right into the middle of it so that he could see anything that might be about to attack him. That was a very smart thing for him to do. Get out in the open, see what's there. Have you used your prediction skills to find out what this is? Think of the title of the chapter. Was he surprised when he looked straight and saw 14 green eyes coming out of the jungle all around the clearing? Now, can you use your doubles facts here? We all have 2 eyes, right? So if he saw 14 eyes, how many beings did he see? In the clearing, when the green eyes turned out, it was 7 tigers. Did you figure that out? The tigers walked around him in a big circle, looking hungrier all the time, and then they sat down and began to talk. I suppose you thought we didn't know you were trespassing in our jungle. Then the next tiger spoke. I suppose you're going to say you didn't know it was our jungle. Did you know that not one explorer has ever left this island? Said the third tiger. My father thought of the cat and knew that that wasn't true. But of course, he had too much sense to tell these tigers that. One doesn't contradict a hungry tiger. The tigers went on talking in turn. You're our first little boy, you know. I'm curious to know if you're especially tender." "Maybe you think we have regular meal times, but we don't. We just eat whenever we're feeling hungry," said a fifth tiger. "And we're very hungry right now. In fact, I can hardly wait to eat you," said the sixth tiger. "I can't wait," said the seventh tiger. And then all the tigers said together in a loud, roaring voice, "Let's begin right now." And they moved in closer. My father looked at those 7 hungry tigers, and then he had an idea. Ding! He quickly opened his knapsack, and he took out the chewing gum. The cat had told him that the tigers were especially fond of chewing gum, which was very scarce on this island, so he threw them each a piece. But they only growled. "As fond as we are of chewing gum, we're sure we'd like you even better." And they moved close so that he could feel them breathing on his face. "But this is very special chewing gum," said my father. "If you keep on chewing it long enough, it will turn green. And then if you plant it, it will grow more chewing gum trees. And the sooner you start, the sooner you'll have more." The tiger said, "Why didn't you say so? Isn't that fine?" And as each one wanted to be the first to plant the chewing gum, they all unwrapped their pieces and they began chewing as hard as they could. Every once in a while, one tiger would look into another's mouth and say, "Nope, not green yet. Nope, not ready." Until finally, they were all so busy looking into each other's mouths to make sure that no one was getting ahead of them that they all forgot about my father. They're busy. They're distracted. They forgot about my father. What's he going to do? Chapter 6. My father meets a rhinocerous. My father soon found a trail leading away from the clearing. All sorts of animals might be using it too, but he decided to follow the trail no matter what he met because it might lead to a dragon. He kept a sharp lookout in front and behind and went on. Just as he was feeling quite safe, he came around a curve right behind 2 wild boars. One of them was saying to the other, "Did you know that the tortoises thought they saw a monkey carrying a sick grandmother to the doctor last night?" There's another clue. "But Monkey's grandmother died a week ago, so they must have seen something else. I wonder what it was." "I told you that there was an invasion afoot," said the other boar, "and I intend to find out what it is. I simply can't stand invasions." "Me neither." Oh, sorry, God changed my voice. "Me neither," said a little tiny voice. "I mean, me neither." And my father knew that that mouse was close by. "Well," said the first boar, "you search the trail up this way to the dragon. I'll go back down the other way through the big clearing and we'll send Mouse to watch the ocean rocks in case the invasion should decide to go away before we find it." My father hid behind a mahogany tree just in time, and the first boar walked right past him. My father waited for the other boar to get a head start on him, but he didn't wait very long because he knew that when the first boar got to the tigers chewing on gum in the clearing, he'd be even more suspicious. Soon the trail crossed a little brook, and my father, who by this time was very thirsty, stopped to get a drink of water. He still had on his rubber boots, so he waded into a little pool of water and was stooping down when something quite sharp picked him up by the seat of the pants and shook him very hard. "Don't you know this is my private weeping pool?" said a deep, angry voice. My father couldn't see who was talking because he was hanging in the air right over the pool, but he said, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that everybody had a private weeping pool." Do you know what it means to weep? Everybody doesn't, said the angry voice, "but I do because I have such a big thing to weep about. I drown everybody I find using my weeping pool." With that, the animal tossed my father up and down over the water. asked my father, trying to catch his breath, and he thought over all the things he had in his backpack. Do you remember that list of things? So now we know why he had the rubber boots and the chewing gum and the compass. There were lots of other things in that bag. Wonder what he's going to use for the rhinoceros. Can you make a guess? Oh, I have many. Oh, gotta change my voice. Oh, I have many things to weep about, but the biggest thing is the color of my tusk. My father squirmed every which way trying to see the tusk, but it was through the seat of his pants where he couldn't possibly see it. When I was a young rhinoceros, my tusk was pearly white, said the animal. And then my father knew what he was hanging from. It was the tusk of a rhinoceros. But it has turned a nasty yellow gray in my old age, and I think it's very ugly. You see, everything else about me is ugly, but when I had a beautiful tusk, I didn't worry so much about the rest of me. Now that my tusk is ugly too, I can't sleep nights just thinking about how completely ugly I am, and I weep all the time. But why should I be telling you these things? I caught you using my pool, and now I'm going to get you. Oh, wait a minute, rhinoceros, said my father. I have something that will make your tusk all white and beautiful again. Just let me down and I can give them to you. The rhinoceros said, You do? I can hardly believe it. Why, I'm so excited. He put my father down and danced around in a circle while my father got out the tube of toothpaste and the toothbrush. Now, said my father, just move your tusk a little nearer, please, and I'll show you how to use this. My father wet the brush in the pool, squeezed on a dab of toothpaste, and scrubbed very hard on one tiny spot. Boy, I thought he was going to use that toothpaste and toothbrush to brush his own teeth. I hope he saved some for himself. He told the rhinoceros to wash it off, and when the pool was calm again, he told the rhinoceros to look in the water to see how white the little spot was. It was hard to see in the dim light of the jungle, but sure enough, the spot showed pearly white, just like new. The rhinoceros was so pleased that he grabbed the toothbrush and began scrubbing violently, forgetting all about my father. What do you think my father's doing right now? Just then, my father heard hoofsteps, and he jumped behind the rhinoceros. It was the boar coming back from the big clearing where the tigers were chewing gum. The boar looked at the rhinoceros and at the toothbrush and the tube of toothpaste, and then he scratched his ear on a tree. Tell me, rhinoceros, he said, where did you get that fine tube of toothpaste and that toothbrush? Too busy, said the rhinoceros, and he went on, brushing as hard as he could. The boar sniffed angrily and trotted down the trail toward the dragon, muttering to himself, Very suspicious. Tiger's too busy chewing gum. Rhinoceros too busy brushing his tusk. Must get hold of that invasion. Don't like it a bit. Not a bit. It's upsetting everybody terribly. Wonder what's going on. That's the end of the chapter. What do you think's going to happen next? Chapter 7. My father meets a lion. See you next time.